Hey everybody, that's Yui from Blasted or Stash It. So I wanted to enter Pocan Joe's 100 subscriber contest. He wanted to know, do comic books make you smarter? He wanted you to look at a book and pick out the psychology or philosophy of the book. So for this contest, I'm going to be looking and talking about the death of Captain Marvel. And so you think of comic book character, you think of death, you think of some great, awesome thing. They done something heroic in order to earn that death. But in this book here, it's actually a mundane death that this character has. Something that even us mortals, us civilian people, deal. That's not necessarily something a comic book character deals with, and that is cancer. So this book is really kind of different. So it starts out with Captain Marvel recording his life, talking about his adventures for future generations to hear. And I think, really, if you look at that, don't we all kind of want that? We know we have a limited time on this earth. We want to be remembered. We want to have our life serve some significance to future generations. And unless we're really doing something that's important that makes changes around the world, in our country, doing something famous, really, we're not leaving much behind. I thought about that numerous times. Like, after I'm gone, the last person that truly may care about me and may care about my existence would be my grandchildren. After that, we're just pictures. I mean, I don't know how many times I've gone down the hallway of my grandmother's house, quite a few years ago, looking at pictures of her family that had died long before I was born, and they hold no significance to me at all. So I think we all want to have some little piece of importance that can carry on for generations and generations. So I think that's what he's trying to do here. I mean, of course, he's a superhero. He's saved the planet numerous times, so he's going to be remembered as he moves forward. So I don't know why he needs to record and database all of his adventures. But it keeps going on. So he finds out he has cancer. He talks to Rick Jones. Rick Jones does not want to accept that his best friend, the one he's had this big connection with, is dying and doesn't really hold much importance to it. Rick really wants Captain Marvel to fight as hard as he can, but Rick Jones doesn't understand that Marvel actually he's trying to do what he can to try to survive. After he gets done with Rick Jones storms off. He has this little, Marvel has this little interaction with, I think it's Elysion. That's his love. I'm not sure if they're married. I don't remember. And they have a little dialogue in the park. They're sitting down, looking at the trees. And, it's kind of hard to stop and actually think about it. He has limited time left on this earth. So he's looking at things a little differently now. He's talking. He said, I guess it's really harder on those left behind. I'm sorry, Elysius. I've been thinking a lot lately about the people I've met in my lifetime. I met quite a few friends along the way. I also keep remembering Adam Warlock. I was with him when he died. His was a hard and sad life filled with pain and confusion. When death came for him, he welcomed it as a friend. I not do so. I've enjoyed this life. It's had its bad moments. It's had far more good moments. I'm going to miss it. So as he has friends that, like say Adam Warlock, he accepted death. He's not really wanting to accept that death. I think that's why he's recording all of his ventures. He's like, I don't want to accept this. Maybe he thinks that he'll be able to relive some of his life, maybe capture a little bit of that to live a little bit longer. As he actually goes through the book, his friends are actually trying to do what they can. Rick Jones is pissed at the Avengers, thinking they're not doing enough, but it's beyond what they're capable of. They've expressed that numerous times. Hey, we want to save him, but there's nothing we can do. And there's a part here where he starts to go, I think, through the 5 stages of death: denial, anger, bargaining, depression, and acceptance. The scene here, he says, I wish. And he's a little inner monologuing. It burns, it tears, it twists, it bends, it kills. It kills slowly, a little piece at a time, and then it fades. Yes, the pain comes and it goes. Damn, but the anger always remains. Aliens, invaders, supervillains, monsters, mutants, they all tried, but none of them could kill me. I fought them and I won. I survived. Who would have thought in the end it would be my own body that would turn on me? He'd beaten everything in the world he possibly had been thrown at him. But still, it's his own body that is now defeating him. As he grows weaker, he's almost bedridden at this point. And he says, you know what's the most frustrating part of this whole business of death? There's so much I don't know about you and so little time left for me to find out. And I think that's, we all kind of do that. We have relatives, we have friends that we're just far too busy to stop and go see and talk to, find out more about. For example, my dad lives 20 minutes away from me. I see him every, 3 or 4 months, maybe if that, call him once a month. I know. We tend to forget about that our time in this world is finite. We say, oh, we'll get to that later, we'll do that later. Later's going to come quicker than we think, and that's kind of what he's realizing here. He knows so little about his love. He has all these friends that are starting to come see him, all the superheroes coming to see Captain Marvel. We have the Beast, we have Spider-Man coming in. And it talks a little bit about Spider-Man, too. It talks about how, when I said earlier, Rick Jones was upset that Marvel was dying and it felt like he wasn't doing enough. Spider-Man kind of does the same thing. He has his own reactions to it as they go in. As they go in to say kind of goodbye to Marvel, Spider says, I mean, sure, please excuse me. And he just leaves. Like, he can't deal with seeing Marvel on his deathbed. Marvel saying, Ben, the thing, let him go. Death touches it all different ways. Some barely feel it's passing. Others, it strikes them right in the face. So it kind of shows a little bit, too, on how death not just affects the individual, but affects the people surrounding them. Spider-Man talks about, it's just a little shaken. It's all a bit too much. I mean, this can't be happening. Captain Marvel is one of us. He's a full-blown card-carrying superhero. We die from bullets and bombs. Not like something like cancer. It just can't be. And then Beast kind of talked to him a little bit more out in the hallway. In case you hadn't noticed, beneath most of these fancy costumes and flashy powers hide mortal men and women. None of us have much of a say on how we're going to end this life. I guess not. Spider-Man responds, but you don't feel alone in your feelings, Spidey. Well, I have a hard time accepting this, especially him. There's more and more friends and superheroes come in to say their goodbyes. Rick Jones even finally makes it to say goodbye before Captain Marvel finally passes away. It says at midnight, he's surrounded by all these superheroes paying respects. He's fading in and out. He sees the people surrounding him, and it talks about so unfair, so unfair, so unfair. And then his face starts morphing into Thanos. Thanos is in the house. And then Captain Marvel realizes it. Thanos said, frail, ill, decaying, slowly withering away. I've always had great respect for you, Marvel. You've always been my greatest foe, my arch nemesis. For one such as you, death should not come gnawing like some vermin. For you, death should be a glorious event. So rise, Captain Marvel. So he jumps out of bed. He's whole again. He's healthy. Captain Marvel is wearing his uniform that he couldn't quite fit into because he had lost some of his muscle tone due to the cancer. As Marvel is chasing Thanos, they come to this big heart in the center of this room as it's changing. And Thanos says he's going to stop that heart. And Marvel's saying, no, he's not. As they're fighting, going through, Thanos is changing, shape-shifting. And he's fighting all of his old foes and dispatching them fairly easily. But we actually find out that this is his dying thought. These are his dying thoughts. A video I just watched recently talked about our subconscious doesn't necessarily die right after death. It can go on for a little bit longer after we die. So I think this is it. This is him reliving his glorious and getting the death that he thinks he deserves going out in a battle. He dispatches Thanos as he breaks up into a million pieces. And it says, Thanos, he shattered like a statue. For all that is left for me in this plane, I am like all men. I am finite and I accept it. An illusion. Your arrogance is noble but futile, just but useless. It is the way of man, and the only way we know is how to play the game. So he talks about death. Death is there with them. Thanos says, but the contest is over and she come for you. Are you ready for her? As ready I guess I'll ever be. Thanos says, she is the bridge of eternity. Her caress is peace. Do not fear her, for she is merely that which awaits us all. That is not that I fear her, it's just that I no longer need the illusion. So it ends. Marvel kisses death, and his heart stops. Marvel thinks, this is it, this death? This is all's behind the veil? And Thanos says, she will lead us on our journey. She will show us that this is not the end. This is only the beginning. And as they pull the blanket over Captain Marvel's eyes, that's the end of the book. We all kind of have this fear of death, I think. Once you get to middle age, you kind of think about it a little bit more and more. Do I need all of this stuff? Does this stuff just make me happy? Does this stuff make me feel youthful that I'm not thinking about my ultimate demise? I know none of my kids are comic book. They care nothing about comic books. Sure, maybe Funko, stuff like that. My old collection, it'll be sold. It'll be gone. Hopefully into the hands of another collector that may enjoy it. But in the end, is buying all this stuff worth losing memories that we could be having? But it's really opened my eyes a little bit more to think, hey, you know what? I don't need to sit there and read those 3 books in my bedroom by myself. I should be out playing a game with my family, creating memories, creating those things that will be remembered after I'm gone. Instead of, oh yeah, my dad, he spent his whole time in his bedroom reading comic books, watching YouTube. Versus, yeah, my dad played board games with us, took us on hikes, did a lot of fun family stuff. So I don't know if this is having the right effect that you want, Joe. But thanks for making me stop, check out a book, maybe get a new perspective on what life means. With that, I'm out of here. Hope I didn't bum you out too much. But we'll be back Sunday night reading comic books, reviewing on the Blasted or Stash It show with Joe, with Mike, with Paul, and with Drew, maybe, hopefully. And spend more money on useless shit. Later.